Oi, oi. How are we all doing, gents? Welcome to the, what are we calling this? A Euro preview show of sorts? Going through all the groups. Yeah. Do a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. I am Chris. We've got Big Gunner down there. We've got Gav Mack over in the bottom right corner, and we've got Devo above him. They are both runners, proprietors, and co-owners of the MAD, Mad Sports Network. You can find us on YouTube. Just go and search for Mad Sports Network, hit the subscribe button. And anytime any of our shows go live, you'll get a bing push notification. I'll let you know that we're good to go. You can join in with the shows. Big Gunner, tell us where we can find you all over social, mate.
It's just a Away Day show. You can find me on Twitter and find me on Instagram and find me on what's the main one?
YouTube.
That's the one. Yeah.
Why too?
Just talking about football in general. Massive Arsenal fan, as you can tell, and yeah, let's get it cracking because I know who's going to win the Euros. Do you?
Man United fan and free gunners. What is the worst that could go wrong? At least we're talking about countries, lads. At least we're talking about countries. And we will start with what I consider, Devo, you said it before we started recording, and I think you hit the nail on the head. This is quite a dark horse of a group, this, because we've got a couple of teams at least in this group who I think could potentially go quite far in the tournament. The obvious one jumping out on paper would be Italy, just historically have always been there or thereabouts for major tournaments. But Turkey have got a good squad. Wales aren't looking too bad. Switzerland always just seem to be there or thereabouts and do well. They always seem to qualify for every tournament. What's the initial thoughts, lads? What do we think of the group? Who do we see jumping out off the paper as being potentials for going far?
Italy. Obviously, I think I said it off air, but Italy seem to be that country that when they're written off, that's when they, that's when they go pretty far. And you're like, who's in the final this year? Italy. How did Italy get there? A bunch of 1-0 wins and scrapes and penalty kicks and all sorts. But I think this squad here on paper, as we were saying off air, there's no real stars in this team. It's not like back in the day when you had a Totti or a Del Piero or a Vieri or whoever else. This is a bunch of players who not many people outside of Italy would know. And I think they're a very balanced squad. Looking at it, they've got some very talented players who may not be star names yet. But once, for example, the Inter lot play in the Champions League next season, I think a few people will be talking about Bastoni, Barea, Sensi especially. I think Italy will be going deep in this tournament, personally.
Would you agree with that, Gunnar? Would you? Because we were saying before, Sassuolo are one of those teams that have quite a strong contingent, don't they? There's teams like that seem to be getting big players in.
I mean, to be fair, we're ever going to be honest. I think they qualified with 10 in 10, scored 37, I believe, and only conceded a couple. And they won 9-1. So they got Roberto Mancini in charge. So it's set up for them. And I think, like we were saying before we came on, that quite a few of the players are quite old as well in terms of, they're at their peak or just gone past their peak. So they've got that tournament experience in quite a few of those players. So I think that will carry them quite far, to be honest. It's hard to tell if they can win it. I think the lacking a top draw striker that everybody knows that is going to definitely get them 4 or 5 goals in the tournament. But I think they will. I think they will minimum get to the semis. To be fair.
Gav, do you think Italy, if they are going to do well in this tournament, do you think they're going to do it the same way they've always done it historically, which is masterful in defence and nicking the odd goal here and there, like Devo said?
I'm hoping so if they do it that way, because they've picked Bonucci and Chiellini, and we know that both of those are fantastic defenders, historically fantastic. But we look at Chiellini. Chiellini has been in the international fold since 2004.
My gosh. That's a long bloody time.
It's a long time. He's an old guy. You want those experienced heads in the squad. It makes a lot of sense to have him there. I look at the squad as a whole, and I think they've got a nice balance of of experienced players and you guys that are coming through. There's a lot of guys that are in their early to mid 20s, and I look at certain defenders that I really hope are going to be able to take the tournament a little bit by storm. A few days ago, I was on the football dugout and we were talking about certain players that could make a name for themselves, and we always talk about the guys at top and whatever, but as Devo alluded to a few moments ago, Alessandro Bastoni, he's 22 years old. He's only had 5 caps, but those 5 caps have all come in the last 6 months, so that tells me that they want to use him, and Inter have just won the title, so there is every chance that he could pose some form of threat. There's just bags of people in their 20s. You could argue that they're in their prime, but because they're not household names, we might ignore them and they could come up and bite us on the arse.
And we'll throw this out, open debate for everyone. So jump in, whoever wants to have their say. Who's the key player for Italy? Who's the one that, even though they don't have the superstar on the team, who's the one who jumps out off the page and you think they're the guy that's going to lead them to glory if they're going to get into the latter stages? And with the squad, do you think they've got it right? Do you think there's anyone who was omitted from the squad who you maybe thought, well, actually, they had a good season, they probably should have been in there?
I look at the squad, I don't think there's anyone like glaringly missing. There's I feel that this is probably the most balanced squad that they could have potentially picked.
The only one I think is Moise Kean.
Yeah, I think that would be mine.
I thought he would have made it. He's had a pretty good season for PSG. I think he would have probably offered something different to the likes of Belotti and Immobile and Insigne. But again, I can see why he hasn't made it. If they're quite high on Raspadori and they want to have a look at him in the tournament setting, I can understand that. In terms of who I think could be their key player, I think Federico Chiesa. Juventus haven't been great, but he's been solid this season. And I think he is a very, very good player. I think they could look towards him to do quite a bit in this tournament. I think this could be a bit of a breakout for him.
I think the teams that are in the group are going to be able to snuff out the likes of Immobile. Immobile in Serie A is filth. He bags a lot. But here, and Insigne, they're both fantastic strikers and that, but I don't think there's going to be any teams that necessarily fear them. So I feel that they're going to have to use a lot of work from the middle of the park. I see players like Bernardeschi playing a big part in this. I can see him starting every game. Barella pulling strings in the middle of the park as well. So that's where I'm at.
Are you suggesting that there's some sort of lack of quality in the Italian league there, Gav?
Tune into the Bundesliga show every Wednesday night.
Maybe we'll do a Serie A show at one point.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Should we? We'll treat this alphabetical order. So, should we switch over to Switzerland quickly, and we'll go to Switzerland next? I think Switzerland are next, alphabetically, aren't they?
Yes.
Now you put me on the spot now. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, before
now I know my ABCs.
Yeah. 5 years of high school. See, it went well on everyone. Switzerland are one of those weird ones for me where we were saying just beforehand, I can never remember watching Switzerland play ever. And every time you get to a major tournament, they're just there, like old, dependable, always qualify. Maybe sometimes go out in the group, sometimes get into the knockout stages. Again, a little bit like the Italy squad, apart from the more well-known names like Shaqiri, obviously Xhaka, who's at Arsenal, and sometimes deservedly and undeservedly gets a lot of praise and pressure on his shoulders. There's not a lot of names on there that jump out off the page, but it is very heavily filled with Bundesliga players. So I will go over to either Devo or Gav. Jump in here because I know you love the Bundesliga. I know you love defending the Bundesliga. Who's the players there that are going to get Switzerland out of this group?
I'll look at the spine. One of the players, I do dig out quite a bit on the Bundesliga show, but for international, he does actually do quite well. One of those players being Brian Mbolo. But Mbolo, you got a spine there of Zakaria, who plays as a defensive midfielder, can play a little bit further forward if necessary. Nico Elvedi and Bolo as well. And all three of them play for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So having that togetherness, as far as I'm concerned, from the same side, along with other players that also play in the Bundesliga. They've got the likes of Babu, they've got the likes of Jibble So. You know, these are guys that are playing regularly in the Bundesliga as well. So once again, they're going to be a team that just, they'll be ignored completely, but could be dark horses.
Yeah, it's funny because they make it out of every group stage. I think they've made it out of every group stage in the last 4 tournaments that they've been in. So they know what they're doing. But like Chris says, do you ever remember a Switzerland match? Like, honestly, I can't remember a match where I thought, yeah, they were great. I honestly, it's just mind blowing that a team can do so well in tournaments for what they are, the size of the country and everything. And yeah, they don't have any massive superstars, but they're a team, and I think that's one of the good things, that these are what gets a lot of these teams through, that they don't have any star players, so they naturally work harder in terms of other teams where they have the star player, where everybody's just trying to give the ball to the star player. Once you stop that star player, then you've won the game. But it's hard to stop a team that are just committed to the cause, and I think they're one of those teams. And again, like we're saying, I think all 4 of the teams in this group are literal, like proper dark horses that I think they can all get out of the group, and I think they can all get to quarterfinals minimum, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. Granit Xhaka's their captain, man. That's just how crazy it is, isn't it? But him on international football is, I keep saying, him on international football is just, it's a different Granit Xhaka.
Oh, we see real Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, he doesn't have to defend as much as he does at Arsenal. The game gives him a lot more time. So when he's got time, he could do anything with the ball. But when he's in a Premiership where it's just 100 miles an hour all the time, he comes unstuck a bit. But yeah, I'm happy to. I want to really watch them this time. I'm going to really watch Switzerland this time and see what they're really about.
You'll be bored. You'll be bored. They're not a flair team whatsoever.
They've got Granit Xhaka, man. That's
extremely industrial team who work their buttocks off for results and generally get it. They have historically struggled for goals. Mbolo is probably one of their more talented strikers. Severovic, who is at Benfica, and every time I've seen this guy, I like, how does this guy score goals?
He's a batsman, isn't he?
I've never seen him play well, but he scores goals in Portugal for fun. And Ruben Vargas has had a decent season for Augsburg. But yeah, they are a solid unit, and that's how they get to these tournaments and get through the groups, is that they've been together for years. And you look at this squad, it hardly changes. 1 or 2 youngsters come in, but Shaqiri's been there for years, Xhaka's been there for years, Rodriguez been there for years, Jan Sommer could go through. They've been there for years as a group. So that's their main advantage that they have over some nations. And again, as you said, all 4 of these teams could come through this group. It's a really tough group to predict.
Do you all think that, I think a lot of people are still looking at Shaqiri as the main man for Switzerland, but the difference is with this tournament, he's not playing regular football. He, for the majority of his Liverpool career, has pretty much been an understudy for the front three. Can he still produce? Can he get them out of the group?
Yes. They look at Shaqiri. He is probably the talisman. Despite him not getting much game time for Liverpool, he always plays well for his country. And we have to remember, he is a very talented footballer. He does things. He is the flair in this group. There's like 25 runners and then Shaqiri. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So he is the flair. And if he's on form, he can change a game.
Do you think we should be putting Switzerland up there as one of the favourites? Last question on Switzerland. Should we put them up there as one of the favourites to get out of the group?
Oh, to get out of the group, yeah. on paper, personally, I would say they arguably are better than Italy.
No.
They're very. I can't see any match winners for Italy. It's a very balanced squad that Italy have put out. I do think that, and age-wise, I think they've got it down to a T. I think they've looked at this and it's like, right, okay, let's get a good tournament out of you now, and then in the World Cup, then we can step home and see if there's any kids that are coming through and stuff as well. Whereas this is a team of for Switzerland that are, for me, in their prime. They've only got one teenager in their whole squad, and everyone else is in their 20s and ready to go. This is the only time and the last time that they can get to at least a quarterfinal. Because BG, you said something about them getting out of the group stages. I believe they have, but they always go out at the next stage. Yeah, the first hurdle. Whereas this time, this is their opportunity to get to a quarter or a semi, depending on how the draw runs. And that draw will all once again depend on whether they are a runner-up or a best place runner-up. So see what they have then.
I think they've got a 25% chance of getting out of the group.
You know what? We're all going to be sat here for the World Cup next year, this point next year, and we're just going to be like, can you ever remember Switzerland playing? Tell a lie. I for some reason, I've got it stuck in my head that when Spain won the World Cup, I think, weren't Switzerland the only team that beat Spain in that entire tournament?
They were, yes. They beat them, I think. Was that the first game?
I think it might have been, yeah.
They beat them 1-0 or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that rings a bell,
That sounds about right.
So there you go. Can remember a Switzerland game. Just the one.
Remembering Switzerland games.
Small victory. Let's move on to Turkey. And I'm quite excited to talk about Turkey because I think this is the strongest squad that they've had in a long time. I'm actually expecting quite good things from Turkey. And the thing that's really surprising about them this time round is, again, I saw it historically, they've not really ever been solid at the back. But when you look at the likes of Celik and you've got Demiral, you've got Kabak in there, obviously Soyuncu, who's been in the heart of the Leicester defence this season, it's looking really tight at the back there. And I'm quite excited about their options defensively. I think that, combined with some of the players that they've got going forward, obviously experience, youth, talent. You've got Under, who's come on the scene the last couple of years, Yilmaz, who's been playing well for Lille this season. I can't say it again for the third time, I'm very, very excited about watching Turkey.
Yilmaz, 67. Is that caps or age? Answers on a postcard. Honestly, I like him, though. I'm not gonna sit here and dig him out.
And he's had a brilliant season. First big move abroad, really, for him to Lille, and he's just basically his goals won in the league towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you said, this is a very strong squad with quite a few players who, if they're not playing in some of the biggest leagues in Europe, have been linked with moves to the biggest leagues in Europe. I think Yasici is a very good player as well. Also at Lille, very tricky, very creative midfielder. And then obviously Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who is dangerous from set pieces. We've all seen the famous free kick against Dortmund for Hamburg where he banged it from 45 yards. He's a very dangerous player. But I think this is a solid side. They've beat the Netherlands in recent times. They've had some really good results in over the last year or so. So they'll come into this with some real confidence as well. And people won't fancy playing Turkey. They're one of those teams that you just don't fancy playing. It's just energetic, passionate, and they're very skillful as well. It's not just about their attitude. They've got some very skillful ballers, and as you said, their defense is pretty solid. And they've got some defenders around some of the biggest teams in Europe, and Leicester.
I was waiting for the jive somewhere. I was waiting for the jive. Gunnar, we'll go over to you. I've seen in the media, obviously on Twitter and all the social channels, people are talking about Turkey as dark horses for the tournament. Do you think that's crazy to say? Or looking at that squad, do you think, no, actually, I can get behind that a little bit?
Nah.
And we'll move on.
Nah. I mean, when was the last time that Greece, but other than that, it just usually goes to one of the big teams in it. So I think it will go that way again this year. I mean, you know where the smaller teams might have an advantage is that because the leagues have been compressed and all the big teams, all of their players have just been playing relentlessly like all the time. The smaller teams, their players are maybe not like first choice players and stuff in their teams. So they might be a little bit fitter. They might have a bit more in the tank. So that might give them an advantage. One person I'm shocked is missing, but he must be injured. Is it Tosin that plays for Everton?
I don't think he's
Tosin.
played. Yeah, I don't think he's played much football over the last.
Yeah,
year.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
but I mean, I think he was. I don't know. Like, I'm just sure he's always in their squad, so I'm wondering if he's injured. Because I know he was their top scorer at one stage, so I'm guessing that's an injury. Or yeah, just because he hasn't played. But yeah, there's always these teams that, again, a bit like Switzerland, where they don't have a star man as such, or that name that everybody knows. So they work for each other. They're close knit group. So again, that sometimes that goes for you. I think that's what we're going to talk about England another day. But I think that's what Southgate's trying to do, like make them like a club team. And I think that's what the smaller countries have, that they come together a bit more and they always look like a club team and they really enjoy playing with each other because there are no stars and there's no egos in the team. So again, 25% chance of getting out of the group.
Hey, look, Turkey came third in the World Cup in 2002. So you never underestimate anybody. Alpay,
Hakan Sukur.
yeah. Rushdu Rekba.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Two guys.
That before Alton Top. I think that's a bit before Alton Top, wasn't it?
Might have been before Hamid, but might be in time for Halil. I can't remember which one's older.
Yeah.
Both look like absolute movie stars. Did one play for Germany?
One play for Germany.
I think you might be right, actually.
Might be
one
right.
play for Germany. I'm pretty sure one play for Germany. Someone's got us.
Someone has to let us know on that
Yeah,
one.
they've always
stick that in the comments.
They've always cross-pollinated over the years. Like there's some players who should have played for Turkey that play for Germany, and then some go over to Poland, and then like Podolski is Polish but play for Germany. It gets
and closer.
messy. Yeah, closer as well. He's probably the worst example for Poland. Look how many he scored for Germany in the finals, especially. Was it 2006? He scored like 7 in the finals.
Yeah, he's an all-time record goal scorer, isn't he?
Yeah. Love scoring 5 against Saudi Arabia or whatever it was, wasn't it? 2022.
I still remember to this day that their keeper wore pants, and keepers who wear pants really it grates on me, and I don't understand why. It's just one of those things.
What's the one that is it? Karali?
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, I've got time for that. Stick your joggers on, son.
And they were joggers. It looked like they, one of them sports shops that are constantly closing down. But
100% Sports Direct. That's fine. You can say it.
Just closing down.
Sports Direct pants.
Closing down soon. It's been there for 5 years. Constant closing down sale.
The worst I've ever seen was Paddy Kenny. Paddy Kenny used to play games sometimes, and he'd have the pants on, but he'd wear the hat as well. I'd be like, "Oh, you've gone double jeopardy, Kenny. What are you doing?
Chris Kirkland style hat."
I think we'll fight that only once in one game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Euros review show, the only place where you can get from Turk to Paddy Kenny in 30 seconds or less.
I also made up that Alton Top thing as well.
That's what set us off.
You said it in a way which made it so believable. We went with it, so that's fine.
They were born in Germany, but they play for Turkey.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, so okay, I'm having that.
Yeah.
They were German, so I'm taking.
I believed you, to be fair. Like, do you remember that time they scored the winner for Germany in the World Cup final? Yeah, I remember that one. We'll round off on Turkey, and I'll cut over to you, Gav, to round us off on this. Again, I keep saying historically, it's like the fourth time I've said it this podcast, but Turkey to me have always been quite a gung-ho football inside. They've just gone for it every single time they play. Nice free-flowing attacking football. Do you think it's going to be the same with them this time around, knowing how strong they are defensively compared to the past?
Well, defensively they are quite good, and they've got OK as well, who turned out for West Brom. And West Brom, we know they went down, but they did look more. They did look a lot stronger defensively when they had OK in front of the back four. So I think with the strong back four that they've got, his influence as well, that would allow like Hakan Çalhanoğlu to be a bit more expressive and Cengiz Ünder to be a bit more expressive as well. So I think they're going to be one of the most exciting teams here, but I feel that Switzerland are going to win the group.
Oh, big call. Oh, big call.
Gav Matt bums the Bundesliga.
Right. And now, the three of you must show your respect for the country in which I reside as we welcome Wales to Group A. And I mean, looking at the squad, some of the club names there, it does not look good. I'm looking at the likes of Luton Town, Bournemouth, Swansea, Cardiff, and you could argue that the quality's not sort of in the Welsh favour, but they've got all the usual big hitters. Gareth Bale's in the squad again. You've got Aaron Ramsey, who's always been their talisman. And then you've got, some really exciting young prospects. Your likes of Ethan Ampadu, who people still don't appreciate Ethan Ampadu enough. I think he's superb. I think he's superb. I really do. Daniel James, although he's found it difficult at United, he's one for the future. He's brilliant on his day. Gunnar, we'll go to you first. What do you think, on face value, looking at the Wales team? How are you rating the chances in this group?
I think they finished second.
Behind Switzerland.
Wow.
Big call.
Behind Italy. I just think they're I don't know, because they don't really get to many tournaments. Like the last couple that they have been to, or the last one that they went to, like you just felt like they were going to do something. And again, it all depends on Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey if they stay fit, which they never tend to stay fit. So, but yeah, they've got Harry Wilson, decent player. Joe Allen as well, knows how to keep the ball. And I think with Brooks and James, they've just got players that are just young. They're just going to just be up for it, aren't they? So they can run rings around the old guys in the Italian groups. The only place I really, really, really worry about them is if I see Gunter and Ben Davis starting matches. That's a bit worrying. Nico Williams, not too sure about him as well. And then the keeper situation, I don't know if you'd want any of those goalkeepers because I think they're all subs, aren't they? So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think again another one of those teams is just they actually have stars, but their team spirit is second to none when you actually watch them play. So it's going to be interesting. I do expect them to get out of the group. I hope they get out of the group, but I expect they will get out of the group.
I think everyone, even the English, like we all kind of like take Wales under our arm, don't we? And hope that they become our second team of sorts, and hope that they'll do well, even though we all pretend to hate each other. Dev, do you think it's a mistake for them to have omitted Hal Robson-Kanu?
No, and the reason being, I think Kiefer Moore is a very competent striker. He's had a great season at Cardiff, and he's a massive throwback target man who can really put himself about. So that gives him a different option altogether. Obviously, Gareth Bale will be the go-to guy, but I think it will kind of play in their favour because a lot of teams will focus on Bale. And, you know, the likes of Harry Wilson is a decent player himself. Tyler Roberts had a decent season for Leeds. I think they've got enough about them to trouble teams. And I think sneakily, I think defensively, depending on what shape Robert Page goes with, because obviously Giggsy's looking at jail time. He's a nasty bastard. I think depending on what they go with defensively, they could be quite solid, because I like Cabango. We talked about him on Il Campionato. He's had a great season in Swansea.
Nice plug.
Yeah, great plug. Joe Rodon is a good defender. Ampadu. So that's 3 really solid centre backs. So if he plays 3 at the back, I think Dan James at right wing back could work, and it could really open up things for them. But I do think they're the weakest team in this group, and I do think they'll finish 4th.
I think sneakily you might be right. Gav, do you think there's any chance whatsoever that 2 big guns, Ramsey and Bale, could potentially roll back the years and make this a summer to remember for the Welsh?
Yes, because they both have it in their lockers. The way Gareth Bale started off the season, even Spurs fans were laughing at him. Even Spurs fans were going, Gareth Bale. The way he ended the season, it looked like prime Gareth Bale at times. And like, because when he started hitting a bit of form, he was bagging against like Wickham. It's like, well, yeah, but it's Wickham, innit? No offense to Wickham fans. But then at the end of the season, yeah, he was scoring goals, the goals that you need. And Ramsey can control any game from central midfield. We've seen it for over the years. And if you watch Serie A, the games that he does play, the majority of those, he has influenced the game in some way, shape or form. But I'm with Dev in terms of the defensive situation, because I've got a lot of time for Ben Cabango. He will not be at Swansea next season, in my opinion. He will be in the Premier League or in Germany, or you know, because the Germans love picking up young British talent, and he is definitely one of them. Chris Mepham is still a good defender. You know, he's still a competent defender who can do a job, and he's not had a bad season either. So when fit and when not suspended either. So yeah, when he plays, he can be an influence. And if they do play at 3 at the back, they could do like an old school sweeper situation and have Ethan Ampadu as that guy in between who can then drive the ball into midfield and offer the ball out to Johnny Williams and to Ramsey to influence the game that way. So I don't think this group is not an obvious group to predict. I just have a feeling that certain teams are going to go in certain ways.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to think how I'm going to phrase this question. If Wales are going to have any success and get out of this group, do they have the playing squad and do they have the options to compete against each team? Because the interesting thing about this group, or the most interesting thing about this group for me, is that just so much talent across each team, but they all have completely different ways of playing. Like Switzerland are going to look completely different to how Italy are going to set up. And we think that Turkey are going to set up completely differently this time around to how they have done in the past. Do Wales have the capacity to be able to go toe-to-toe with any of them?
Yeah, I think they do, because Wales, you know, barred a friendly the other day against France where, you know, they capitulated. Generally, they put up a good fight against some of the better teams. I know in recent times they've given Germany a good game and Holland and stuff like that. So I think they'll give a good account of themselves, but I think they'll just fall short because the quality, it's not as good. But I think they can compete, yes. I don't think they're going to be embarrassed, is what I'm trying to say.
Excellent. So that leads me on to the important question, which is, how do we think, hand on hearts, the group is going to end up? Who do we think is topping? Who do we think is coming second? And who do we think is going to prop up the group at the bottom end? So I will go to you first, Gunnar. How do you see the group going? I know you said before you reckon Italy and Wales. Do you still think that?
Yeah, I'm more hoping than anything. Yeah, no, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
I think they're all going to finish in the same place. I think the group is that bad. They're all going to finish on the same point. So
We're going to draw every game.
Fours all round.
yeah,
Fours
just
all
just draw
Brilliant.
every game. Yeah, I'm gonna say it on my chest. Yeah, Italy, Wales, Turkey, Switzerland. Switzerland, Turkey.
Big
Turkey
call.
got another group. Okay.
I think I will cross over to Devo next. I will go with mine. I think Turkey are going to top the group, and I don't even think it's going to be difficult for them. I just think they're going to wipe everyone aside, and I'm going to go with Italy second, just because I think they are going to draw on that big tournament experience that they've always had. Unfortunately, I think Wales are going to prop up the group. I think Switzerland will come third.
Man. I think I'm going to go with the same as you, you know. In my head, it was just either Italy or Turkey are going to top the group. That's what I couldn't really see. But I think Turkey... no, Italy top, Turkey second, Switzerland third, Wales fourth.
I'm going to sound really not controversial, contradictory, I should say, for the way that I describe the Italian side. But I'm going Switzerland, Turkey, Italy, Wales.
Oh.
And that is with my chest.
I mean, I can't remember a time where... Has there ever been a time where Italy haven't made out of a group at a tournament?
Yeah, World Cup 2010. I made money off that. I'll never forget that. I had money on Italy and France not to qualify from the group stage in 2010. Gav Mack made money.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I'm an idiot. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that wasn't a great year for us either. But
the finalists of the previous World Cup didn't make it out of the group stage. Mad things, blood.
But it was the same with France. You remember France won the World Cup, won the Euros, and then got there against Senegal, and Senegal were like, "Hold my beer."
Didn't score a goal in that tournament, did they?
No, they didn't. Yeah,
I don't think they did. No,
they lost to Denmark. They drew with Denmark. They lost to Denmark. They lost to Senegal, and I can't remember what happened in the last game.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they refused to play because of Anelka?
Oh, you're not doing this here again, are you, Gunnar?
No, I remember the manager didn't get on with Anelka, so the players were refusing to play unless you play Anelka sort of thing. And then Anelka went home, didn't he? He went home early.
Yeah. Our fan squad refused to play because Hammett just wasn't playing for Germany at the time.
I'm still convinced he played for them, man. I don't know which one it was, but one of them did. I'm convinced.
Do any of you think, realistically, the winner of the tournament could come from this group?
No.
No.
I don't even know why they're here. They're just making up numbers, to be fair.
Disrespect.
Oh my lord!
So what you're saying is you can't see Gunter holding the trophy aloft come July.
No.
Dennis Nicolidis did it in 2004, so you never know.
Well, yeah, stranger things have happened. Probably a better question to ask then is, do you see any of them, even if they don't win the tournament, do you see any of them making any sort of major splashes? Do you see any of the major stories of this summer coming from any of the four teams in this group?
No.
No.
I do. I'm going to disagree. I really do fancy this Turkey side to go quite far. I think you're looking at potential semi-finalists in Turkey.
They're not even getting out of the group in my eyes.
There's just something about the way they've always played football. I think they've got really good options going forward, as they always have done. But this time, defensively, they look so strong on paper. I think that's going to be a really good foundation to build off for them.
Yeah.
But the way you're all looking at me right now, you just think I'm chatting utter shite. So
we appreciate your opinion. We appreciate your opinion because at the end of the day,
defense I've ever seen from Turkey. So You could be onto something.
You can stand and laugh at so many different opinions in football, but then the opposite happens, and you're like, egg on face. And tournament football, man, you just don't know what's going to happen. But
I'll tell you what, Chris, you might want to wedge some money on that because you might win some.
Do you know what? I fancy it. And if not, then this has been my final appearance on the Mad Sports Network. I bid thee farewell. It's been a good ride. It's been a good run. First show hosted. Well, lads, that is everything that I can think off the top of my head, unless you have any final thoughts for Group A.
No,
just looking forward to this. Looking forward to the Euro starting. Not too long to go now, was it? 6 days to go now.
I cannot wait. And we've got the Group B show coming up very soon after this one. Can someone just remind the viewers, please, who is in Group B, who we will be previewing next time out?
Yes, so next time out, we're going to be looking at Denmark. We're going to be looking at Finland. We'll also be looking at Russia and the average side, that the countries near France. What's it called? Oh, yeah, Belgium.
Russia, Mother Russia.
Can they actually do it this time, Belgium? Can they build on that promise? We will see. We will go into that next show.
No, they can't.
And we'll skip right over that. Right, guys, it's got to the time of the show, the end, where we will do a little bit of housekeeping again. So let's remind everyone of our social channels. Gunnar, we'll go over to you. How can people find you on the big, wide world of the internet, mate?
Just type in the Away Day Show and you'll find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Excellent. If you want to find me on Twitter, I am at Chris de Collins. I am proudly part of the Mad Sports Network. I am also part of 4 Manx 1 Toffee. You can find us at WeAre4M1T. We go live twice a week. We will actually be back tomorrow night where it's just me and Gav, and we've got no plot for it. We've got no storyline. We're just going to chat shit for an hour. It's going to be great. So tune in tomorrow night if you can. Gavin Devo, how can we find people how can people find the Mad Sports Network?
Right there. YouTube, Mad Sports Network. Pop it in Google as well. We come up first. Hit the notification bell to keep up to date with all of the content we've got, because we've got a hell of a lot of it. And you can find us on Twitter at Mad Sports Net.
Excellent. The best sports network on the planet. Go and follow us across social media. Go and find us on YouTube. You will not regret it. We cover all sports from WWE to darts to basketball to football to mixed martial arts to boxing. If you're a fan of sport, we have a show for you. And that is it from us. Take care, folks, and we will see you for the Group B show.